Nice. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Soul Food Book Club. We are here today to just enjoy each other and discuss this book that we've been reading and to say happy birthday to one of our members. Happy birthday, Mary Lou Burdick.
Thank you so much. How sweet is that?
All right, let's sing and let Mary Lou blow out the candle. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mary Lou. Happy birthday to you. We love you, Mary Lou.
Thank you.
All right, everybody gets to make a wish.
Okay. Whoop. I wish Mary Lou could come back.
There she is.
Yeah, it came true.
Your wish came true. Yay.
Namaste is my birthday wish. Namaste for all of you and all in our world that share the love. Thank
you. Thank you for being a part of our family, Mary Lou. We love you so much.
Love you.
And our book club family that's here today, we have Linda Lemieux in Florida, Charlie Coons in New York.
Hello, everyone.
Auntie Jean in Texas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
And Trooper the dog here in Colorado with me, deciding to make his presence known. So who's got the book you can hold up? We're reading Erma Bombeck. When you look like your passport photo, it's time to go home. Oh, so how are we loving this? I think we're coming up on the end of it, aren't we?
Yes,
we are.
Maybe one more week to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely, it's not that much more.
We could probably finish it off in a week. It's so easy to read.
Definitely.
Yeah. So who would like to start the discussion today?
Well, I guess I'll start.
Okay.
The different chapters were kind of, that there's certain ones you can, I'm sure each of us could relate to, something in, just about every chapter, if not one. But the one in the beginning there was the slides, was funny about how, taking the pictures and then doing the slideshow and everything like that. My wife's father used to do that, and in my garage I got boxes of slides that I don't know what to do with, that are going to have to just exit into the dumpster if no one if a brother or someone doesn't want them. I just, of course, when we emptied their house, he had so many pictures and slides and everything.
Oh, no.
I got 10 boxes worth. Like, what's the matter, Jim? She froze?
Kept freezing, she said.
She must be frozen again.
We had a frozen pig. So, yeah, the slides was a good one. And then the rafting down the Grand Canyon was, with her... and that's when the family really connected, when I guess the kids grow into adults and stuff like that.
Yeah. With the Grand Canyon one, Charlie, I wrote down a quote from that one because I started thinking how clever she is with her wording and all. But this one showed some depth that came out. Right. It says, she's talking about, going on trips with her children. And, and creating that gift to them. And she said, if we have given them a legacy at all, I hope it is a desire to see the world and meet some of the people with whom they share the planet in peace. if that were true, I would never again worry that they would end up with nothing. And I thought that was just, it's such depth and beauty, and, sometimes we travel, we get in a car or a train or a plane, but sometimes we just walk down the street, and I love that idea of bringing peace wherever we are.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I keep fading in and out, so I may have missed a whole part of this, but I think you're talking about the same thing where she talks about they decided to go ahead and instead of stockpiling money for them, is spend it on them so that they could see the world and see things. And I think that's so important for a child. And even when Ron and I were teaching, they asked us to develop a program for their underprivileged kids in the school, something that would bring them up to the same level as other kids had. And we came up with a program of taking them places, and that's museums and short trips, here and there.
Wonderful.
And we did that for 3 years, and it was really beautiful. And I was really sorry to see it go, as they all go because of money, But it was really nice. And those kids that were in that program have all been very successful. They've become professionals in one way or another, and they're contributing to the world, really, and it makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with her.
Well, a lot of people think they're isolated, and if you travel, you see people have the same problems or the same situations, not always problems, or are appreciative of the same things or appreciative to have a bathroom. But they get more of a world feeling of they're not alone and they're not the only one that feels a certain way, or, that people are people all over the world. So whether they travel at home or travel, overseas, I think that's a good aspect of it. We had kids in Belgrade. I taught out there for 5 years, and it's maybe 20, 25 miles from the ocean. Most of the kids had never seen the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't make a trip. It was that far away that they had just never seen it.
So that's how awesome is that you arranged, and Jean, you too, to take the time and put the effort into it so that they could get in a vehicle that maybe they didn't have access to, or money to, get into a museum and make that happen for them. That's awesome. Here in New England, the schools have field trips. Almost every school that I know of, especially in elementary. I don't know if they continue it later on, but my grandson just went to the Berkshire Museum, on a field trip, and they have a bus that brings them all to it, and the teachers does preparation with them of what they're going to see, and then what is their favorite thing that they noticed, and they share it with one another. And it is beautiful, for them to get that sense of going outside of what they know.
Exactly, expanding themselves. What we would do is we'd do preparation. We'd have a class or a project before we went. And then after we went, we would have another one for them to explain what they saw, what they learned, what they took in.
That's just great.
And it worked out really, really well. And, like if we took them to an air museum, we talked about airplanes and the planes that were there from the different wars and, and everything. So it was nice. Which one really moved me this time, or what a part that really moved me in this book, is when she was in Africa. And she was with all these people that were the same as hunters to me, except they were with cameras. And they were always, having to find the tail of a monkey or something they could photograph. And that man came up to her one night when she was sitting there just relaxing and asked her why she wasn't taking any pictures, or why in the world did she come? If she'd never taken any pictures or anything. And she told him that the idea of the romance and the beauty of Africa and all the feel of, the animals and being near Earth and the ancient connections we have, all this inner stuff that she felt was so beautiful. That's why she was there. And he told her, get a life. And I thought, that poor man, she has a life. He doesn't understand what life is, Right. He's the one that needs to get a life. So that really touched me, because I'm like her. I've never been a big picture taker, because I'm so much enjoying the energy of the moment, what's going on in the moment, that I don't feel like I need to take, occasionally I take a picture, but I'm like Charlie, we have these boxes and boxes of slides that my father-in-law took. Every time we went anywhere, we had to spend all this time taking the perfect slide. And it just never seemed to enhance the experience for me. So, I love the way she's talking about these things that are so familiar. Mm-hmm.
In the same idea, she brought up a situation with a blind man that was in I believe, the Grand Canyon. And she was feeling bad that he couldn't see the beauty. But then he started saying, about the mist in his face, and you could feel the warmth on the rock. And you could even feel where the stratas were in the rock. And, he told her all the things that he was witnessing by his other senses, I guess. I think Jean froze again.
No, she's here.
It keeps doing that. I don't know why. But I heard most of it.
Okay, yeah.
And I have to keep muting. I have to keep muting because of Trooper, so I apologize for that.
Oh, okay.
She said she doesn't want to see life through the lens of a camera. That's very, very narrow, a very narrow piece of it, and it's true, but I must say I'm like 50-50 on it, because I do like taking the pictures. I think you capture a special moment that you can remember later on, so I think it's a mix of both of those things. You have to be experiential and, she documented a lot of her trips, in her own way. She became her own camera. And I've always been like that too. I'm very much, when I travel, I like to experience. I like to feel the warmth of the sun there, knowing back home it's, different weather, but, it's beautiful in its own way. I did notice, I don't know if she commented it or if I sensed it, that wherever she went, everybody loved their own territory. They loved being in that part of the world. They were, they're proud of their culture. They're proud of their history and their environments, and I think that's true too, that we all have that sense of loyalty to what we do know, and we want to share it. We want to show them, oh, look, this is, I know when Terry came, I wanted to bring her to show her the cheese, the mammoth cheese, they call it, that Cheshire made, for one of the presidents, and brought it down, to Washington, D.C. and, that kind of thing. We do take joy in sharing it with others.
Yeah, that's so true, Mary Lou. Everywhere I've been around the country, I've been with every one of you. And just seeing how you love your part of the world. Every part is different. And there's so much to see in this land. There really is. I could never get it accomplished in my lifetime. But just meeting with all of you and seeing your place through your eyes. And that's what Erma does. She shows it through other people's eyes as well, the people that she comes into contact with.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to do as I meet with you and you take me and show me something in your area that you want me to explore. I just love that. And I do document with my camera. My camera just loves all these places I've been, the mountains, the water, everything. So I've probably got, I want to say probably close to 3,000 photos already, just on the journey I've been on so far. And it's always so cool to look back on those and have those memories.
Well, and it's also cool that you share them with us.
Yes.
And that, that is wonderful.
Yeah. And your new book that you're preparing. I remember being in middle school, or I might have been early high school. And one of the teachers had us do a photo journal. And I've always loved that, that you don't have to use words. Sometimes you can appreciate the image and see what you see. Like, like an artist would draw a picture and you see what you see. Yeah. Yeah.
One part I loved was how I believe it was her father, would find a bench in the middle of the city. He wasn't crazy about shopping or walking long distances. So he was happy to sit there, and he met the local people and got the local flavor. And he learned a lot more about the area than the other people seeing monuments did, because they learned about that particular place and had a picture of it. But he learned about the people and talked with them. And I like that part of it too. They say if you want to get to know a country, to talk to the locals. Because they'll show you around.
Yeah, she talked about. I loved that too. It's funny that all the things we're bringing up were the things that I made note of too.
Yeah.
And I loved it when, she talked about how he found that plate with Christ the Redeemer on it, and he had it, special made and put it in his kitchen, and it probably cost him $15, but the trip probably, cost $1,500 or more back then, but how one little thing can become meaningful, and it's not always the trip itself. It's that one experience that you had that is important. And she said something about it became $1 million plate, I think, with how she put it, that they spent that $15 to have the plate, but it's $1 million worth of memories for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure encourage you to think that, you get older doesn't mean you have to stop experiencing those things. Instead of, having to climb all over the monuments, which is what we do when we're younger. Just sitting there on that bench and just taking in the culture, talking to the people was really full. It was wonderful,
Yeah, it was all needed.
Yeah, so that's great.
I'm hoping I don't need those words of wisdom, because we're going to Scotland at the end of the month. And all I'm hearing from people is that it's a lot of stairs and a lot of walking and the cobblestones, and and I'm not this physically fit youngster that I used to be, and I feel like that this book was chosen so that I can remind myself, just take it, pace it, what works good for me. There's nothing wrong with taking a bench now and then if I want to,
That's
so
right.
Yeah, because when you go with groups, and my daughter has emphasized, that there's going to be like 20. I'm so happy and so pleased, and my niece Tina is one of them. I wish she was on here with us, but she's going with her
She's going to
daughter,
Scotland.
Katie.
Oh,
Yes, she's
yay.
going with
wow.
her daughter Katie, and
I'm so glad.
I know. And, we'll all meet there. We're not taking the same flights, because I'm Massachusetts going down to Washington, D.C., and then an international flight. And she's going out of Chicago, and probably different airlines and everything, but when we get there, we'll be spending some time because my daughter Marie's getting married, over there, and his family is from Scotland. And, so the thing is that she keeps talking to me about, and I think it's like miraculous in so many ways, that Marie has created this opportunity when, people are still a little hesitant. I am, about the whole COVID thing. I don't want to get it and have to stay an extra 5 days for me and then another 5 days for Barry, because we haven't gotten it yet. But I'm putting all that in God's hands. I'm not worrying about it. We had a conversation that it's possible, and so that we'll be okay with it there if it does happen, but no intentions on that level. My intentions are we're having a great time, and we're gonna be a blessing and have blessings. And but the whole thing is that she's got, I think she said 10 mothers who are bringing children that are in their 20s to go over there now. And some of the things that she's like created a tour guide experience for us. She's made reservations at hotels and arranged buses for us so that we can all be on the same bus to go to the different sites. So isn't that amazing? I mean, I'm just amazed with the whole thing, that she's created this moment in time for all of us. Yeah. Special.
Wow, I'm so happy for you.
I am too.
But my point is, I hope I can keep up with all those 20-year-olds. But Erma Bombeck's teaching me I don't need to. It's okay.
That's right. You don't need to.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're exciting.
You're also in the mindset of going to be with family, where the 20-year-old probably more adventure, do something.
Yes.
Do. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to be climbing the mountaintops in the Isle of Skye or anything. I'll be sitting there enjoying. Look, I'll be like in the book, with the grandpa sitting on the bench, looking at the ocean, and and enjoying that. I think. Yeah.
Maybe you can.
I'm pretty.
That my son says that they have. It was his hope at one time to go to Scotland, because he said they had fewer churches there than anywhere else. But the whole country is mystical. To me, in its way, it's grounded in old ancient mystery. And so I think it'd be wonderful to go there.
One thing I'm looking forward to is we're going underground. I wanted to do that. My daughter took me one other time, and her son to Montreal, and there's a city built underneath Montreal, and we didn't get to go to that, but there's a city underneath Edinburgh, and she did make arrangements. I mentioned it to her that I'd like to do that, and I think there's what you were talking about, Jean, is a lot of history in mystery and evil, stories of evil that went on, and how the good conquered that. So I am looking, and then in the Isles they have things they call fairy pools. And you might have to do a little walking to do that. So I'll see how I am that day, how the weather is, and all that.
You know what really helps is a walking stick. When we were in Maine, I was with Terry and Stacy, and we made our own walking sticks. And it was amazing. Further I could go, and I wasn't out of breath. And I don't know, it really, really helped.
Oh, thank you, Linda. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. Now, Mary Lou, is your heritage there? Your ancestry?
My mother's family was Irish, and my father was from Eastern Europe, whatever that means. You know,
Yeah.
he was Canadian. He was Canadian French, but his ancestry goes back, you know, and my mother's goes back to the Vikings as well. And so, you know, they're more in that area of Scotland than they are, you know, in you know, but who knows, right? If we are or we aren't, you know, I don't know. But Marie's marrying into the Johnson clan, and Barry's going to wear a kilt for the wedding.
Oh, how cool. I love that.
He's like, oh, I never thought I'd be a 69-year-old man wearing a kilt. But he's game, you know, that's what Marie invited all the men to do, you know, and, you know, Mark and his family all will be doing that and comfortable because they've always done it, you know, but, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of tradition and wonderful times together. Yeah.
Great.
I love that. And we have Gracie joining us.
Hello. I'm joining from work.
Hi, Gracie.
Hi guys. Wonderful, Mary Lou.
Have you had a chance to read any of the book, Grace?
No. So I'm just
they had a
listening
whole
in
chapter
today.
on Africa.
They do.
Yeah.
Yes.
They had a whole chapter on Africa, and you know, I thought if you were reading it, that you would have had a lot more to offer than Erma Bombeck did from her American, you know, perspective.
Yeah, and this is the last time, right? We're off it this week. Yes.
No, one more week.
One more
Okay,
week.
so I'll try and see if I can get my copy, and then I will. I don't even have the copy.
Even if you borrow it, you know, from the public library, maybe, you
That's
know.
what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
check out the Africa one, and you can tell us what you think.
Okay. I will.
So our next chapter is brochure speak.
Brochures.
So Grace knows.
Oh, thank you very much. Brochures. Okay, great.
Right.
I love the one she ended with about the restrooms.
Yeah.
I think what I loved about it was her perception of, well, which is true, of what men think about restrooms and what women think about restrooms.
I was going to bring that up.
Were you? What do you think?
Yeah, no, that, you know, how it's a lot easier, you know, and a lot of times the women have to wait, you know, because there's so many, you know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like at concerts or whatever, you know.
Any affair where there's a bunch of people, the women are in line all the way down.
Right, yeah.
So.
And how you have to pay overseas and stuff.
Yeah, you do.
And they have to pay.
A lot of places in Mexico too. When you go to Mexico, you have to pay. But somehow or other, it doesn't bother me. You know, it doesn't really bother me that much.
When I've had to go and there's been lines, I've been known to say, whoever I'm with, you watch the door. I'm going in the men's room and just make sure nobody comes in.
Oh, I've
gone in there in my lifetime, you know, because it doesn't, I don't know. They didn't seem to put enough stalls in for the amount of women versus the amount of men with the time element. And also they don't make the doors very amendable to go in and out of, you know. Yeah. It was interesting how she brought up NASA, you know, NASA, and you know, because you watched that funny show Big Bang Theory, and one of the young men who's very smart was the astronaut who went up and he invented the flushing component, and they said right on the show it wasn't right. He messed it up. And I liked how she said, well, when they can figure that out, then I'll go to space.
space.
But not until.
Me too.
Yeah, that was funny. Space one. Yeah.
Well, I've roughed it. I mean, we've camped and everything. I've roughed it to the very bare where you just go out in the woods and, hide behind a bush. But at this age, I'm not too sure I would want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'd probably bend down, not be able to get up after.
It's okay, Jean. I have a porta potty in the Angel Mobile.
Oh, good.
I've learned a lot traveling around the last couple of years.
Bet you have. For men, it's so easy. To me, it always seems like for men, it's so easy, but for women, it's difficult.
Yeah. And another one was the death by drivers.
Oh, yes, that was funny.
And I can relate to that because I'm one of them drivers.
Yes, you are. The first time I'll tell y'all a story. First time I was in New York with Charlie, and we're driving around, and the sky was just beautiful that day, and the clouds were like making all kinds of shapes, and there were how many of us in the car, Charlie? 4 of us? Yeah, 4 of us in the car. And Charlie's driving, so we're all looking at the clouds, and we're talking about the clouds and the shapes. Well, Charlie starts looking at the clouds.
Oh, no.
And he's driving the car.
No.
So I said, I guess Charlie really wanted to keep me in New York.
Did he hit anything?
No.
It was close, Jean. It was a close call.
The co-pilot took care of it.
I'm like, Charlie, there's a car there.
What? No, but
those are the kind of experiences I've been having with you all, and they're all so precious memories. They're fun. They're
I think she was a
beautiful.
little bit on edge when she rode with me. She says,
I'm not a good passenger. I'll admit it. I'm not a good passenger. But I know I have scared people also with my driving, so it goes both ways.
My problem is if I'm looking at something, I turn the car to where I'm looking.
I even have one of those cars. I have one of those cars you can look at right in front of you to see behind you. And like they have the visual where I forgot what the formal name is for it. There's like a little window on the dash that you look at when you're backing up, so you can see what's behind you. Yeah. I forgot the technical term for it. But remember when we went to visit a friend of mine, Terry, and I backed into the telephone pole, and then the next day I backed into, we went to this little farm stand, and there was no way out. I still don't know how that happened, because
I don't know how that happened. That was so funny.
Oh my gosh. I'm hitting the gas and the car's not going. And I'm like, what's going on here? I don't know how that happened, but I didn't know. It was almost like a fence of the yard where they had a very steep hill right there, but there was no way else to get out of where we were. We finally inched it out inch by inch. That was hysterical. Yeah, I can't brag about any of my driving skills, that's for sure.
I'm laughing.
It's interesting that a lot of these experiences I've had has been as the passenger in your all's cars, because Mary Lou, pretty much the same thing happened with Rosalind out in California. We went to visit one of her friends. They were having us over for dinner that night. And so she parked across from their house, but it was like, if you went too far over, it was really soft. And she got too far over and she couldn't get her car to move.
Oh, no.
They had to push her car out of that sand.
Oh my God.
I'm just laughing. I'm like, what is it with me and other people's cars? I either get stuck or I almost crash.
I'm laughing so hard with Mary Lou because I've seen Mary Lou. I know Mary Lou. I've hugged Mary Lou. And I know her car. So that's why I'm laughing so hard because I remember.
And remember
Oh,
when we were
amazing.
all
Wow.
driving up
I'm
Mount
telling you, I
Greylock
laugh
and
at
it
you
was
all the
that
time because I met you and Charlie.
Yeah, Grace. Remember that day we drove up in the fog on the top of the mountain?
Oh my God, I was so glad you were driving. I wouldn't have done it. I would have
I
said,
was
okay,
familiar.
we'll have
I
to
was familiar
postpone
with it,
it.
but poor Grace wasn't. I was
Yeah.
worried about Grace, and then she stopped halfway up, and we thought, remember, Grace, we thought you were up at the top, and you were only halfway there. And
Exactly.
we, and, you know, Terry and I
Yes.
were like, oh my gosh, did she drive off the side? You know, where is she?
The fog was so thick. There was a miracle that happened that day because we had scheduled to do the land blessing at the top of the mountain. And the fog was so thick, and we were driving up the mountain, or she was driving up the mountain, and so it was crazy. I was just along for the ride. And when we got to the top of the mountain, we found the spot for the land blessing, and it was the only spot that wasn't foggy. Every place around us was fog, but that was totally clear. Remember that?
That was very mystical.
It was a
magical.
Miracle. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
The angels just held it back.
They did. I mean, I have a picture of it, you know, where you can see where we were, and the fog is all around. Yeah, that's right. I was live.
Yeah.
And you all did get to see it live. Yeah.
I get very nervous when someone's in my car as a passenger. Otherwise, I can drive anywhere and do anything. But when someone's a passenger in my car, then even if it's just my husband, for some reason, it brings up that anxiety and I get more nervous. I don't know if I feel responsible for another human being or I just don't want to make a fool of myself. I think that's probably it.
Well, I almost took Jean into Mexico, just so y'all know.
Well, that is true.
Well, that sounds like a story.
They're not funny about it anymore because I've done that accidentally a couple of times years ago. But now they're not, they don't think it's it's okay. Funny. You just have to turn around and go back. Now they don't think it's that funny.
Yeah, Jean was freaking because I had to exit. I was in the lane. I couldn't get over it. I had to exit. What was the town? Something Mexico.
Yeah.
What that exit was. And she's like, I can't go to Mexico. They won't let me back out.
Well, she has a passport. They would have let her back out. I had my passport. But they would at that time, mine wasn't, I didn't have one. And they want to let me back out. Especially because they probably think I look Mexican, so they want to get me there. So anyway, but
fun adventures. And that's, I love that we're doing this book because life is an adventure. And when we can look at it that way and look at it through the stories that we tell and, just all the fun stuff in life. I'm sure there's a lot that happened with Erma that was not fun, but we're getting to hear the fun stories. And that's what I love to share too, is, coming around and meeting all of you and having the adventures we have and being able to laugh. The more we can laugh, the more fun we're going to have in life.
Even when you get stuck in a snowstorm up on top of a mountain. And
stuck in the snowstorm, stuck at a creek that I couldn't get across. That was in Sedona.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it was. I had directions to get where I was going, and all of a sudden, there was a creek across the road, and there was no bridge. And I'm going, I don't think my car is going to do this. I don't think it will drive through a creek. So I just kind of sat there until I figured out what to do. I had to backtrack and go a different direction. But it was just a funny moment. I'm like, that's water going across the road.
That's good that you didn't try. You know, they say that's dangerous. Some people do try.
You're right.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
that you knew.
I was sitting there, I parked the car, and this truck came by, a pickup truck, and he went through the water. He did it. But then going back up the bank to get on back on the road on the other side, he had to really struggle. And I'm like, well, me and Luigi would be stuck in the mud.
Yeah, those pickups can go a lot of places that regular cars and vans can't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everyone in Texas practically owns a pickup, you know.
That's true. I've noticed that, Jean.
Yeah, a lot of pickups, you know. But
I don't know what chapter. I think it was Traveling with Parents chapter, but she said vacations are a series of moments, special times in between the exhaustion and the time of discovery.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exhaustion and it's exciting discovery, you know, and that's what traveling is.
Mm-hmm.
You're an expert on all of those feelings and experiences, Terry.
Yeah, all that discovery. It's so amazing to me how you can just go turn a curve on a road and all of a sudden there's like a mountain range or there's the ocean. And what a moment, you know, I get chills every time that happens. I'm like just this awe and wonder at how beautiful our country is. You know, this is our country. This is for us. Anybody can drive through this country and see this. And I encourage everybody to come out west if you haven't been, because it's magnificent.
That's like the ride from Phoenix to Flagstaff. It changes like seeing, you know, season. You see like, you know, different things. Yeah, that was beautiful, that ride.
Yeah.
I think
And Massachusetts has one of those roads too. It's called the Mohawk Trail.
Yeah.
And you turn a corner and it's like, especially in the fall when the leaves have changed.
Yes.
It's one of the most magnificent drives you can take. Yeah. And Jean, I'm sorry I interrupted your thought.
No, I was just going to say when we went to Yosemite the first time with kids, the way we came in, I know we went through Bakersfield and then we went to wherever it is they have London Bridge, where that is. But anyway, we came in through the back way. And so we knew there was mountains. You could see the mountains. But to get to Yosemite that way, you go up this hill, you climb and climb, and then you go through like a cave. Well, not a cave, a tunnel. And we drove through that tunnel. And when we came out the other side, it was like, oh my goodness, it was like entering paradise. It was spring and every single flower was in bloom. And it was just, I've never seen a sight that beautiful in my life. It was so exciting. Ron was jumping up and down in the seat. I was afraid we were going to have an accident. You know, because we were still on this curvy road. He got so excited that he was just jumping up and down in the seat.
It's beautiful. And when you came out of that tunnel, did you see a waterfall there?
You could see where we came out, you could see several of them because we were very high up. And it was a whole like landscape of the valley. And so you could see at least, I would say we saw at least 4.
The waterfalls are amazing at Yosemite. That was the one thing I was drawn to.
Beautiful. Yeah. I still have, I've seen a lot of beautiful pictures since I've been looking for backgrounds, but Yosemite is just so beautiful. You'd have to go a lot to top the beauty that's in that one place.
That's true.
And it was so beautiful. We went back in winter. We wanted to see it in winter.
Yeah.
So for our 25th wedding anniversary, we went in winter.
Oh, how
Even
nice.
though our
Aw.
anniversary's in June, we waited till the following January and we went back. And it's beautiful in the
Beautiful.
winter too.
It is. It's really pretty.
Mhm.
Well, this has been a wonderful discussion today. I'm looking at the time and seeing how it flew by. So next week, where are we starting? I know somebody said it already.
Oh, yes, you did. I've got it marked here.
Brochure speak.
Brochure speak.
Sure speak. Okay.
To the end.
All right. Okay. And Mary Lou, will you be with us, or are you? When are you
Yes,
leaving?
we're not going to go till the end of the month.
Oh, the end of the month.
end-
Okay.
Yeah, the end of the month.
Okay.
How long are you
Great.
going to be there?
10 days.
Oh,
Oh, wonderful.
Very
wow.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
You'll have to take a lot of slides.
You know this.
I don't even know if they made slide projectors
I was
anymore.
thinking about
I
that,
don't
too, like
know.
the slides are, they're part of our history, really
Yeah.
that whole topic on slides.
Mhm.
Because my Aunt Mary used to be the person. She never married, and she was my mother's sister. And anytime we had a family event, she would be there with that great big camera, and then we'd all be invited to go to her apartment and look at those pictures. And she always had her thumb in the corner, was just always there because she forgot to get it out of the way of the camera. And such wonderful memories of her doing that, and then we went to VCR tapes and put all of family memories on there. Like when my parents had their 50th wedding anniversary, we all got together, because I have such a big family. So we, one of my brothers has a beautiful home up in Hinsdale, Mass. And we all went up there to his yard, and all my family did skits. Like my brother Mark went rented costumes from the Wizard of Oz, and he's a comedian, and so he dressed up like the scarecrow, and then he'd put on the Tin Man, and he knew all the words to all of it, and he entertained us with that. And my daughter and two of the other nieces did remember that song, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Baby?
Yes.
No, you know it. Pour some sugar
Pour
on me,
some sugar on me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they choreographed a dance, and then the younger little boys all had drums that they made, handmade drums, and they took a rock song and rocked out to that. And I've got a cousin that was a professional guitarist, and she sang. And my sisters and I don't know what we were thinking, but we had these crazy old-fashioned hats, and we did some kind of like a rocket kind of a dance that was absolutely horrible. Wow. But we had fun, and my parents loved it. Yeah. And I forgot my point. There was a point to it.
Well, you're talking about the slides, Mary Lou.
Yeah.
The slides, yes. And so they, we still have it, and it's on VCR, and we keep talking about, there's a way to get it so that you can have it on another upgraded, but we don't know how to do that.
I know there are companies that do that.
Online.
Yeah, there are companies that do that.
I think it'd be better if we found somebody local.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if I live in a big enough city area to find somebody, but every once in a while, one of the cousins will say, remember that, we should have that. We should fix it and put it so we can watch on our televisions, but.
Right.
Oh, that reminds me of
that's
something.
the way you have those memories,
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me of something. You know how she was talking about the struggles of getting her teenage kids to go with them on vacation because they didn't want to do it. Yeah. They all wanted to be with their friends or whatever. We had the same problem when our kids were in the teens. But just like her, now when we get together, those are the memories that they pick as their favorite. All those things where they really didn't want to go and this and that. And we said, no, it's a family affair. You got to go. And they just, that's what stuck with them.
Mhm.
You know, it really meant a lot to them. So you just don't know with these young people, you know. Yeah, that reminded me. That was important.
Well,
I know
thank
it's
you
not
all.
the company, Charlie.
What's that?
I saw that big yawn. I know it's not the company you're keeping.
No, I think that was our sign to sign off.
I've been working outside all morning and I've been tired, you know. I just,
Yeah.
Me too.
And I
All
came
right.
in
Well, maybe you
today.
can get a nap before the class today, Charlie.
No, I got to go
Yeah,
out.
we have
I
that
got to go
coming
out and do some shopping and do more work. Oh, we got class tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What time is that?
6:30.
6:30 Eastern.
6:30. Okay. All right.
Oh,
All
Terry.
right. Yes.
Hi. Terry, can I join the class and pass on for the
Yes.
month? Yes.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. So I will send that to you.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get off of the air and say goodbye to everybody. And thank you to everyone who's listening to this on live or on the replay. And we're enjoying this book. So I hope if there's anyone out there that's reading it along with us, that you're right there with us and enjoying how much we're getting out of talking about travel, discussing it, sharing experiences of travel. This has been so much fun today. Thank you all who were here to discuss, and to laugh and share together. And we will leave
So
everybody
are we
with
do Linda's friend's book next?
Stay, y'all.
well, we'll talk about that, Jean, because it's not in paperback yet.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I can
something
get it
else
on.
first. We could do another book first and have that.
Yeah, and give it time to get on paperback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to leave you all with Namaste,
Namaste,
y'all.
y'all.
And we will see you later and
Namaste.
come back next week and we'll do it again. And happy June to everyone.
And happy birthday, Mary Lou.
And happy birthday to our Mary Lou.
Happy birthday.
So much love. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.